Let's kick it off with the man himself, Ben Affleck's Batman. So in the theatrical cut, we know that Ben Affleck's Batman is really upset and he will do anything to get Superman back to life. And he is a bitch in the film. We know that. So when I was coming into the Snyder cut, I was really worried about how Ben Affleck's Batman was going to get treated, because I heard some of the leaked storyboards originally that he was going to be more suicidal or some shit. But we also know in the theatrical cut that he gets his ass kicked a lot. Well, in the Snyder cut, he's practically a little bit mellower than he was in Batman v Superman. And what I want to say about that is you can tell this is the same Batman from Batman v Superman. Maybe you'll learn one lesson of not killing that much, but he is legitly the same Batman, and that's what I'm glad to say. We see his character actually develop, and that's what I really like to see. He's a badass still. Yeah, does he get hit a couple fucking times? Obviously, yes, he does. But what I was really excited and nervous about seeing is I just want him to be useful as much as possible in this film, and he was. He has his gauntlets that can fucking deflect shit. That I don't know why you would cut that out of the Whedon cut. That was badass. You can tell that Bruce has got the brains and how he creates a lot of his gadgets. I actually ended up liking the Nightcrawler this time around because it did more things, and the Flying Fox was pretty badass this time around. Everything in the Whedon cut was more or less mellowed out and like not like really impactful, and it had no build up to these fight scenes and stuff like that. But even Batman gets a couple more sequences where he punches parademons in that, and it looked more badass than in the Whedon cut where he was just like hanging on to the fucking parademon. So overall, Batman was handled really fucking well. Let's get into Wonder Woman. Now, Wonder Woman in the theatrical cut compared to this cut, she was kind of similar. However, she is not hung up on her fucking boyfriend in the Snyder cut, so that's what I'm really happy about. Diana's character is still her fucking cool ass warrior type that we got from Batman v Superman and the first Wonder Woman. However, we got some of those best traits from the first Wonder Woman film implemented into this, and it just makes her character so much better. Wonder Woman's not just a warrior, she stands for love and peace, and it's awesome. She is perfect in this film, and Zack can really show how he can handle Wonder Woman, and especially not in '84. Fuck Patty Jenkins after that. But overall, if you have some of the comparisons of let's talk about the bomb or the bomb sequence as for in the Snyder cut and in the Whedon cut. If you can tell though, like she just way more brutal in that, but she's got a lot more meaning to it. In the one part, she says in the theatrical cut, she's like, the guy says to her, "What are you, a believer?" And then in this one, she says something even more badass, and it was pretty cool. It was like she fucking knocks him out of the window. We didn't see that either. She says, or he's the bomber says like, "I don't believe it." And she's like, "Believe it." And she fucking knocks him out the window. That guy is fucking dead. There ain't nothing about it. He is dead. But then she like saves all these children and has a nice heartfelt moment with this one little girl. Why would you cut that out? That's the true character and essence of Wonder Woman. So I don't understand like some of these things that like they were trying to light it up, because the Snyder cut is already a pretty, it's dark, but it's lightened too. So overall, Wonder Woman's character, a fucking thumbs up for me. Let's talk about the Flash real quick. So the Flash is a lot different. So in the fucking theatrical cut, we know he's just comic relief. In this film, he's got shit to do, a lot of shit to do actually, and we see his intro with him and Iris. I know a lot of people thought it was stupid and creepy in that. I thought it was just cool. I actually really like the slow-mo actually in the film a lot. Is it overused at sometimes? Yes, but I really did like that sequence, and it does set up Barry's whole character. And yeah, with a 4-hour film, you better set these characters up a lot better, and they do, and that's what I love about it. And compared to the Whedon cut, he's just there, he's like a little kid, and he's just fucking the comic relief. In this film, he's got more of a motivation behind him, and he's also got he's more useful. He's not just fast. He can do other abilities. Especially, let's talk about that final battle sequence of him reversing time compared to just saving a Russian family in a truck. Yeah, that's just, why would you cut out the Speed Force scene? Apparently, Warner Brothers said it was too dark and they didn't want it. Flash saving and being a hero they didn't want in the film. And I just love that sequence so fucking much, guys. Like, you're gonna see a comparison of both scenes, and you're gonna tell me right now which one you like better. Let's talk about the big one, Cyborg. So I'll tell you straight off that Cyborg in the theatrical cut is fucking, he's nothing. He's supposed to, you could tell he's, in the theatrical cut, he's supposed to be centered, it's supposed to be centered around him, but it's not. And everything he ever had was cut and reshot into a train wreck. In the Snyder cut, he is the emotional heart of this film. He really is. Zack wasn't kidding with that. He really is the fucking one of the highlights in the film. And you can just see the emotions that go through Ray Fisher when he's driving with his mom right before the accident, and he starts crying almost that his dad didn't make it with him to go see the game, his game, when he fucking does really well. In that we didn't see that, obviously, but when you see him struggle as Cyborg, and when he loses his father, these things we didn't see, but like, this film gives the characters enough to breathe, and you really get invested in Cyborg and Victor Stone's life, and you feel his struggle, and then you get to see the cool abilities that he can do as Cyborg, and I just love that a lot, and that's why I'm really glad that to say that Cyborg is an important key part in the Justice League. And at first in the theatrical, I wouldn't say that. I felt like he was just there to do nothing. In this film, he serves a big ass purpose. Now let's get into the one character that, in my opinion, really didn't change that much. We just got a couple additional scenes of him being more, badass and mopey, is Aquaman. I think Jason Momoa brought a little more lightness to the theatrical cut compared to this one, where he's more sinister, I guess you'd say, and darker, and more of like a rock star type compared to the one in the theatrical cut. In the Snyder cut, he's more like a rock star in that. And we get a couple more additional scenes with him and Mera and Vulko, and then especially the one at the end leading into his Aquaman film saying, I'm going to go visit my father. So honestly, his character doesn't change that much. He's got a couple more things to do in this film. I just wish we would have gotten the Snyder cut a little bit more of Aquaman, like him using his quintet abilities a little bit more. We did get a lot more, though, than in the theatrical cut, because we got nothing really of him doing anything in the final battle except for trying to stab Steppenwolf like in the chest, and it did nothing. In this film, he fucking holds him up with this pitchfork, so that was pretty fucking cool. So I have to say, obviously, Arthur Curry is going to be handled a lot more in the Snyder cut and fleshed out better. But the big thing is that in the theatrical, it's hard to say that there's a comparison because they're kind of the same character. Not much drastic change between these two. In the, obviously the other characters, a lot has changed, but I would say Aquaman is relatively the same. But is Superman, and I think Superman was handled fucking incredible in this film. So we obviously know he gets resurrected. I love that sequence too with the Flash, how he has to reverse time. We didn't see that, to pick up the mother box and drop it back down. That was pretty cool. But when he comes back, we get a lot more. We don't see that fucking fight scene with him in the Justice League was so fucking cool in the Snyder cut compared to the Whedon cut. Everything is like washed out of the Whedon cut, and then we don't see this. He's like, "Do you bleed?" Says the Batman. Why the fuck would Batman? Why would Superman say that to Batman? I don't understand. I don't ever get that. But the biggest thing is Clark getting his memory back and having time to breathe and not just rush into battle. And we just see him and Lois and Martha just hug each other. Compared to the Whedon cut, we didn't really get a lot of like the emotion, and then you hear that Man of Steel theme throughout this whole film, and that's what I love, because it throws full circle back to it. And then once you see him walking through the Kryptonian scout ship, and he sees all the suits in that, and he's about to do Flight 2.0 and flies up to the fucking Earth and sees the sun, that shit's badass. And then his final battle when he comes in and kicks a lot of ass, that, I'll tell you, he's got the black and silver suit on. that guy's fucking badass, and he's darker. He's got a lot more dark to him, and he's like fucking punching the shit out of Steppenwolf, and it was so fucking cool to see. It really, really was, and I was so glad to say that Superman was handled incredible in this film, and that's what I was nervous about too. I didn't want to just see him as, you know, being controlled by the anti-life equation. I wanted to see how cool his Superman will be, and Zack proved to me in this film that death in Batman v Superman was not a waste. It led to somewhere incredible. But guys, let me know your thoughts below on how I think the characters were handled in the Whedon cut and the Snyder cut. They're betterly handled in the Snyder cut. They got more time to flesh out, and Zack knows what he's doing with the characters. But let me know your thoughts below. Do you think any character were handled better in the Whedon cut? Let me know. And thanks for watching, and I will see you guys soon.